Hi, I'm Natasha Lockhart. Welcome to Studio Chatter. The holidays are behind us and we've begun the new year. We've lined up several guests with some very important topics to share.
I'm Angie Murphy. We'll talk about Embolden You and why it's a great resource for local women.
I'm Angela Euler. We'll learn more about a group that helps those that struggle with motivation, habits, and even academics.
And we'll talk about how porn addictions destroy relationships and the challenge to recover. That's coming up on Studio Chatter. Welcome to Studio Chatter. Welcome to 2024. Did you survive the holidays?
Woohoo!
Barely.
Yeah.
Barely.
Yes. It felt like a long holiday season, guys.
It was
Didn't
really
it?
long, yes.
Is it because it was on the weekend? Because I felt like I just worked until Friday and then all of a sudden had to cram everything in Saturday and
It's just
Sunday.
because we're partying like the entire month. You
Yeah,
have a
it's
party,
true.
I think, every week.
Yeah.
For 4 weeks, at least leading up until Christmas, and then a bunch just before Christmas. So.
Right.
It's
Well,
all
then-
good, but just crazy.
Yeah.
I also felt like school winter break was longer.
That was weird for me.
Yeah, than usual. I'm like, did we really know it was going to be 2 full weeks? Which was nice.
I thought it was going to be
Right?
1 week. And then my kids are like, oh, we're out this whole week. I'm like, oh my gosh. are you
Right?
The second week, yeah. It's like,
usually
what do
they
we
go
do?
back right after New Year's.
Right. So
And
we
then they
had the
didn't.
entire extra week.
Yeah.
So we had kind of that extra time, shall we say, to recover, which was nice. And we were able to do a few more things. But by midweek,
You were done.
Everybody's
are you?
up at
Is it?
1.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
what day
I've
of the
heard
week?
that
What am I
from
wearing?
several
Is it,
mamas.
time, is it time for you to go back to school yet?
Yeah,
Exactly.
my kids were saying that with their girls. They're like, the first week was nice. The second week, it's like, what are we gonna do now?
Yeah.
I don't know. I just worked, guys. It was our busiest time of year.
Well, which is also very interesting, right? Because if you are working and you have kids at home, you're like,
Yeah.
well, we're like working, like kids.
Not
I don't
just
know.
still holidaying, right?
Right. Can
Yeah.
you take us here? Can you drive us there? Well, no, not
No.
really.
Have you done your chores? Because we're
Right.
still living life here.
Oh, right. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking
That's
of
tricky.
things to do, have you guys been on the new Tubing Hill?
You went,
Yes,
right?
Yes. Well, the kids went.
kids went. So you didn't
I
go
was
down
I was a
then?
spectator.
You were a spectator.
No, yeah, no, but so it was so cool though, right? Because it was like the only place that had snow. So
Yeah,
they were
really?
so they were making the snow and the kids. I mean, it was a perfect, really, really like the perfect activity, 90 minutes, because they were up and down the hill for a long time. I was still able to like check my phone, you can sit over by the fire, you can have a snack, you can do whatever, you can participate. Like, I thought it was money well spent, time well spent. Well, I'm always trying to plan like outdoor activities or birthday activities for February, like what fun things are there to do.
Yeah.
So I've actually been thinking about that a little bit. So
That'd be fun.
Speaking of birthdays,
Oh,
I believe somebody's having a birthday.
Right.
she's going to be 25. Look how
Right?
good you look.
Yay!
It's a big one.
It is a big one. So what do you
yeah.
have planned?
Well, we're gonna go to Disneyland
Why
the week
wouldn't
after,
you?
right?
Heck, how
I've got
fun.
my Disney nails, thanks to Delaney.
Cute.
And yeah, it'll be good. I'm having some lunches and dinners, and then my granddaughter shares my birthday, so she's turning 1, and I'm turning 50.
Isn't that so fun?
Isn't that cute?
Yes, I love
It's
that.
kind of really endearing that we get to share it together.
Oh, I love that
So,
for you.
yeah.
Yes.
You know what's interesting is 2 of my kids were born on grandparents' birthdays.
Really?
Yes.
I thought it was really unique. Like, that's really crazy
2
of
my
all the
kids-
days.
Yeah, of all the days,
Right?
2 of my kids are born on grandparents' birthdays.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of fun.
I love it.
Do you? Okay, yeah. I know Mackenzie was like, Mom, are you going to care to share your birthday with Emery? And I was like, heavens no.
Yes.
What a blessing, right?
Yes, I'm like, yes.
We're going to have to separate
Yes,
this.
no, but the more the merrier,
Right,
right?
the more celebration.
More cake,
Yes.
more shopping,
Yes.
more all. Yes, I
Yeah.
love all of that. So because we are in the new year, I'm feeling like 2024 is just going to be a fabulous year.
Yes,
right?
yes. Let's do it. Let's
and
make
we
it that way.
we usually talk about our 3 words
Oh my gosh.
or a
Yes,
word.
I
Have you
haven't thought-
projected anything?
I have 4 words on my phone.
Okay.
Okay.
No cheating.
But I have to get them out. I don't have them memorized. Do you?
I don't have one this year. Not yet. No, I'm
Can you think about it
is
during
it
the
like
show
along
and we
with-
could share at the end?
maybe.
Okay.
Along with like your goals or what?
Yes.
Are the
Kind
words?
of.
Like
Or just one word. Just something.
Yeah, just like a theme, like your word or your goal word.
Like
for
one time we
okay.
did like being intentional. Like that was one.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
But that's not a word.
Like, well, didn't you choose?
That is just cheating.
Yes,
It's
didn't
a
you?
phrase.
You chose Namaste.
I did.
Was that last year or the year before?
Yep.
Last
Is
year.
that like
2
yoga?
years ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I think mine was being present, like trying to be more present for either like the kids' activities or just in general. But
That's a
I
good
haven't felt it.
I've kind of felt this need to just make all areas of my life more whole, whatever that means.
Okay.
Just like bring this calmness and balance and wholeness to every aspect.
Oh, that's
'Cause
a
I feel
good one.
sometimes I go off the
Yeah.
cliff with certain things.
I'm stealing.
And I want to kind of bring it all
Balance.
together.
Balance. That's
and
a great
wholeness.
word. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like
Wholeness.
it.
That's perfect.
So think about it. Maybe by the
Okay.
end of the show,
Okay, yeah.
we'll have one.
yeah.
Okay.
I bet
And
I
our
will.
viewers, maybe they can be thinking about theirs
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
Well, it's
Stay
time to get the
inspired.
chatter going, so let's get started. Every year we give attention to our young ladies that wear the Miss Spanish Fork crown. The registration window is now open for the 2024 competition. Let's talk about some of the benefits of entering the event. Let's welcome the director of the Miss Spanish Fork program, Jennifer Olson, to the table.
Hello. Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Can you believe it's that time of year?
It's been a whole year since we started recruiting last year. It's so crazy. It went by so fast.
My
See,
goodness.
first
But
of
it does
the
every
year,
year.
we start all these fun, exciting things, but you guys have been doing this for a year.
Yes.
Since last time we ended. So
Yes.
tell us how we prep and get ready and what's going on right now, I guess.
So right now you can sign up on the Spanish Fork City website through it's SpanishFork.org/events/MissSF. And
So it's not
there's
too
a-
late to sign up.
No, it goes
like
through.
that window is not.
Yeah, no,
on.
we just started January 1st and we go through January 31st. So
Okay.
you can go in, you just fill out, it's a simple little application, it just name, you have to have your zip code and your address and your age, and that's
And
about
how
all.
old? Like, what are the age ranges?
So for Miss America, you have to be 18 to 28. So because you serve at Miss Spanish Fork for a year, and then you go to Miss Utah and then Miss America, you have to be 17 to 27.
Okay.
And so this year, because of the age changes that they've made in the last years, we decided to open it up to juniors and seniors. So anybody born in 2007 or later that's at least a junior in high school can compete.
That's so exciting.
Isn't that exciting?
Yeah, that brings a whole new.
We're
group of
excited about
people.
adding, yes, exactly.
Yes.
We're excited about adding juniors because then if they win Miss Spanish Fork as a junior, they can serve here in the city as a
'Cause
senior.
so many
and
times
not,
they have like
our Miss Spanish Fork this
college or
year is at
something.
college, and she comes back as much as she can, but she also
But
feels
that's
bad because she
tricky.
misses things. Mhm.
100%. Do you have to be in Spanish Fork to be?
You do have to live in Spanish
Okay.
Fork. Well, you have to live in the 84660 zip code. So
Okay.
Benjamin and those areas count as well.
Okay,
Outskirts.
84660.
Okay.
That's
Yes.
good.
So those are the qualifications. So
Yes.
within the zip code, the age, is there anything else maybe that they should
You
know?
have to be a U.S. citizen,
Okay.
and you have to be a woman, a young woman.
Okay. Okay.
So those things are the main qualifications.
And what are the benefits? So if, why should somebody do this?
So the biggest benefit is we give out over $10,000 worth of scholarship money.
Amazing.
So, and everybody that participates, even if you just participate, you get at least $250 in scholarship money.
That's
So
really
that,
amazing.
that kind of makes up for what you would spend like with
Yeah.
wardrobe and stuff, but it still is at least something.
and the
And an
experience. of it.
experience.
Yeah.
And the experience.
totally.
The benefits are amazing. I've watched so many, I've been involved in the program for 20 something years, and I've watched so many young women like grow and mature, and just the changes, even when they don't win, the changes and the experiences that they have
certain.
are just amazing. Like you watch from now until the competition, and they've just matured. I feel like it's like a whole year of college that these girls mature in like 3 or 4 months.
Interview
imagine
skills,
we-
performance skills,
Yes.
all the skills,
presenting
absolutely.
themselves, being able to like speak.
One of my favorite things is like the opinions. Like you know, as we like grow up and like listen to our parents and don't really develop our own opinions, but as you prepare for interview and all the things you're talking about, that you have to develop your own opinions. So you have to research and know what's going on. I call it much better than the Instagram opinion.
Yeah, and
I love that.
they're not surface questions. I remember, so my mom was Miss Spanish Fork back in the day.
Awesome.
And she always talks about the story. I don't know that it was for her Miss Spanish Fork competition or then she competes in
Miss Utah.
But the question they gave her, and you have to know my mom because she would have no idea about this, but they says, what do you think about nuclear power?
Oh.
Okay, my mom is like, if it turns on light bulb, let's have it. And I thought that was the best. Anyway, so yeah, you have to think about things beyond just,
Just
even
what
your
you see.
age.
Yes,
a little
exactly.
bit more mature topics, right?
Which
Definitely,
reminds me, you were saying something maybe that like the talent portion of the competition has changed a little bit.
So I've been so excited. About a year ago, somebody new Robin Fleming bought the Miss America brand. And she looked at it and she's like, I love that it's open to all of these young women, but a lot of times these young women don't have classical talents.
Right.
So she introduced a new part. And instead of a classical talent, there you could also do, it's called a her story. And basically it's like a storytelling performance kind of idea, and it takes the place of talent. We've kind of talked about that we have to change what we're thinking about talent because it's no
So
longer
it's
like
not
a classic
singing, music,
Right.
dance.
It's when
Right.
someone gets on the stage and not doing that, we're not saying, oh, this
Right.
is not a talent.
Right,
Because
exactly.
It's not a talent.
Because it's not a talent, it's a performance, and it's how you connect with the audience
Okay.
and how you make the audience feel what you're feeling.
Almost
So
like
give
a
me-
TED Talk or almost like a PowerPoint presentation or something that you're very passionate about.
I think Robin Fleming called it a TEDx talk. So not just a TED talk, but like the next
There you
level
go.
up.
Okay, lovely.
Yeah.
Now, can you still do like the piano? Can
Yes.
that still count?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
But then, or you can
But
do this
if you
as
don't
well.
have those, I don't have a classical talent. Like I learned to play the piano when I was 8, but I couldn't play to save my life. And so the idea that this opens it up to so many other
So
things.
I could
is awesome.
gift wrap. I could
You
come on.
you know what? I saw someone gift wrap on
She is
the
amazing.
Miss stage before.
You did?
I did.
Okay. Guys, I have a
You'd have to do a poem or a story like why you're gift wrapping. But you could do it.
I love that because we're all gifted with these different unique talents per se or avenues, and
Yes.
it doesn't always look the same. So I love that they've opened it up.
Yes, it gives so many more people opportunities.
Yeah.
I think one question that we always seem to receive in pageantry is like, well, what's different? What's different about the Miss America program and the Miss USA pageant? Or
This is
you know,
true. That does confuse me a little bit.
Well, because of the scholarship aspect, and because some of those talents are really, intelligent women that are doing science, experiments on stage, or it's more their story to explain that and connect with the audience.
It's a great way. Miss America a few years ago did a science experiment, but as she was doing it, she was telling her story, and so she was telling about how she got into science and how as a young woman she was kind of teased and things. So it was not really a talent, but it was a great performance, and you really learned more about her and connected a lot more.
Ooh, I'd love that.
And
I
that
love
is a talent
aspect.
to connect with
It is
with
for
people
sure.
and to be able to communicate yourself well.
Exactly, and that's one of the best things you learn with competing for Miss Spanish Fork is how to communicate yourself to others.
100%.
Well, it's evolved and maybe changed with the times also. So, getting back to the local aspect,
Yes.
the first meeting is coming up very
We
soon.
have an information meeting
Okay.
this coming Monday on the 15th at Library Hall at 7 o'clock, and we'll just answer questions. You can come and ask any questions you want. We'll be there to answer and help.
And then what's the process? Like, what happens in the next, 6 to 8 weeks once they decide and they get in their paperwork?
Once you apply or once you turn in your application, then we'll start. We provide all the knowledge you need. We have an amazing village. Natasha's part of it. We have an amazing village that really can help so that every girl feels comfortable on stage. But we'll work on walking. We'll help refine your talent performance. We'll help with giving you interview questions or mock interviews. We really involve
you really
a lot of
give
people
them
in the
mentors
city.
so that they can succeed.
So that,
Even
yeah,
if
we
it's
want
not
everyone to
a win
feel
or lose,
successful.
right?
Exactly.
But feel successful.
Yes, we want everyone
That's
that comes off that
awesome.
stage to feel successful.
What a
love
great
that.
support.
Jen, what is
So-
your favorite part about being a part of the organization?
well, I have a great village, and so we love to just get together.
Right.
But also just watching these young women grow. I never did pageants growing up. I got into it when a friend just said, hey, come on and try it out. And it really became a passion for me. Like, I really believe in the program and the opportunity that it gives to young women.
I can
It's
see that.
impressive.
Yeah, really beautiful.
Well, I think the best part for me too, and I think that's why we continue in the program, is when we see some of these candidates through the years that have grown and had success in their business or whatever it is that they're doing, and then they come back, and it really does. It's a whole circle that just evolves.
You see all of the women that have been Miss Spanish Fork in the past and what they've used it as a launching pad for. We have a previous Miss Spanish Fork that started her own travel company, like her own travel bag company.
Yep.
And we have one that started a dance studio, and just amazing
They're
things.
giving back to the community. They're participating and becoming.
And they're using it as a chance to grow and to
Yeah.
become professionals. So
Yeah.
it's really,
It's not
that's
your
probably the
old
best.
traditional pageantry that we
Absolutely
think
not,
of.
yeah.
And I think everyone
And it's
needs
not
to,
beauty.
if you're not going to be in it, come be involved in it or come watch it and participate
Yes.
and support it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay,
I
so
think
I have
it's
one
really
more
awesome.
question, and it's an odd question.
Here we go.
But okay, so let's say that I want to do it. Not me personally, but I'm
because you're
pretending.
close to that age, but not.
But I have stage fright, but I could do everything else. how do you help people overcome that?
So that's one of the big learning things, right, is to have that confidence to get on stage. Lots of girls have had trouble doing fitness or doing our swimsuit competition that they used to have, and now it's fitness. But a lot of girls have had that trouble, and we've just really encouraged them to try. And once they get off the stage, they truly are oh my gosh, that was the easiest thing I've ever done. And so I think just the encouragement, the pushing from behind, the helping them, giving them lots of opportunities.
That they realize no one has rotten tomatoes in the
Yes,
audience.
exactly.
And it's going to be fine.
And they've got a huge group of supportive people behind the
Yeah.
stage.
That are just cheering.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think that's
I
awesome.
love that.
Well, thanks for being here.
Thanks for inviting me.
And
We're
have
excited.
fun. You're off on an adventure
Off
here.
to Miss America. We're going to watch and see how it's looking on the national stage.
So fun.
Yeah, it's
Thank
exciting.
you. Thanks for joining
Thanks
us.
again.
Thank you
We'll
so
see
much.
you soon.
Okay.
Are there days that you feel you've misplaced the motherhood instruction manual, or do you need some new ideas for self-motivation? Then this next topic is for you. Let's meet Marky Bischoff with Embolden You to the Table. Welcome.
Hello, sweet Marky.
Yes, where's the manual?
Right? This is what I love. She is double our age younger, and we're looking to you for advice. But we sure appreciate all that you have to give. You're just a dear.
You're so sweet. Honestly, it's not me that you guys are looking for to advice. I'm just trying to bring resources and information and helpful things right to moms. So
Okay, well, tell us a little bit about yourself,
Yeah.
okay? And how this journey started too.
yeah, so I am originally from Salem, Woodland Hills area, and me and my family actually just moved to Spanish Fork about 6 months ago. We love it here.
Where were you living before?
We were just in Springville, so not too far away.
But you're locals, true
Okay.
locals.
True locals, yeah.
But Marky danced with my girls, so I feel like I've known
Oh,
her
okay.
since she was little, yeah.
I know,
Uh-huh.
it's so fun to see you again.
Yeah, it's fun.
But yeah, this whole idea with Embolden You started. It was kind of a process how it started, but I think the first idea of it sparked when I was talking with one of my mom friends who was kind of venting to me about a situation about just something hard that she was going through in her motherhood journey. And it was something that I felt was very common, like it was something that I had concerns about, but I just felt like she just felt so alone in that. And I was like, gosh, wouldn't it be awesome if we could connect moms to the resource, but then also connect moms with other moms who might have a similar journey or experience or hardship or some exchange experiences and learn from one another. And so that's why I started Embolden You seminars. I wanted to create an environment of learning, but then also to create a way for moms to meet other moms in our community. I think that's so empowering. And so, yeah.
Well, and it's validating too, like you said,
Yeah.
because you might think you're the only one that's going through something, but really everybody is. Everybody is
Yeah.
in some way or another.
And we may not be connecting to the right person that's also going through that or have been through that.
Absolutely.
But then here's a program that maybe it's like, hey, we're talking about this. Oh, I've been through that.
Yeah, exactly. And so we're really just trying to bring in speakers who are passionate about helping moms. And we talk about anything in relation to motherhood, family life, parenting, maternal mental health, just all things to help embolden and empower women in their motherhood.
Do you find that it's different stages of motherhood? Because, like, for example, maybe I'm a young mom, or maybe right now I'm a mom that I've got an 18-year-old that's getting ready to move out of the house.
Yeah.
And I'm feeling very overwhelmed by it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So different stages of motherhood.
So all of our seminars, we try to keep them very general, so where they could apply to all phases of motherhood.
Okay.
Because they're all different. Like
Right.
you go through, I mean, I'm only in like the middle or the very beginning of my journey as a mom, but you know, everyone has their own journey, but also different phases that you're dealing with.
Yes.
And so all of our seminars right now are supposed to be very general, that it would apply to any mom in any situation. In the future, I would love to branch out and have more topics based on the phase that you're in, but this is kind of where we're starting out right now.
Oh, that's great.
So
Well, I love that you've taken a problem or a trial or a thought and you're turning it into this beautiful program, right, to help other people.
thank you. Yeah.
So how do people get like in touch with you or go to a seminar? What does that look like?
Yeah, so I have an Instagram. It's at Embolden You Seminars.
Okay.
And you can reach out to me through Instagram. In our bio, we have a website that you can find out more about our seminars. Right now, we're hosting them monthly. We'll see. We'll see if that.
In a set location. Are they
Is
the
it
same
on a
place?
Zoom?
Yeah, so all of them are in person.
Okay.
And then they're recorded for me to give later. If you want them, I'll send them to you through email. And then most of them will actually be held through our local libraries.
Okay.
Spanish Fork Library and both Springville Library have been on board with this initiative. They're so excited about it. So they're mostly held at the libraries, but for instance, the one that we have this week is actually held at Course Counseling.
Okay.
We're having a couple of mental health professionals come and talk to us about setting healthy boundaries in our relationships, and also how we can develop self-compassion. So we're
those
excited.
are great topics.
Both
So
great.
now, where do you get your speaker? Like, how do you?
Yeah.
You just
And then is there a
network
cost
with
to
people?
come or
Yeah.
what? Yeah.
So they're free. We're trying to do everything that we can to make them free, if not free affordable. So,
Oh, okay.
and then our speakers, I've had people reach out to me through networking. And then, yeah, if you're interested, if you have a message to share with moms that could benefit them in their lives, like please reach out to me. I would love for you to be a guest speaker.
Okay.
So
That's awesome.
Well, I'm just thinking about like all of the conversations that I have with other mothers, like in studios, in cars, that are just so one-on-one, that could be so applicable to other mothers. And so we've talked maybe about like even the seasons, you know, so you're in a different season raising children, and then there's even different kids. I think there's kid personality types sometimes too, because you may have one that's like just doing sailing and just doing great, and the other one's kind of flailing a little bit, and it could be one or the other.
And you're like, I swear I'm raising them just the same, but obviously we're not.
absolutely.
Right? Or just different times and seasons. I think that it brings up new concepts.
Yes.
My daughters were kind of talking about your little program and like how they do feel lonely sometimes. And even though we have social media and feel like we have this big network, there's something to be said about gathering personally with someone.
Yes.
Right? Having like that personal, physical connection with other people.
Yeah.
Where you feel the emotion, you feel that sense of security to share something
and the
like
connection.
you're saying.
I really like the connection, getting there and just being with other people.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's half the battle, right?
Yes.
It is.
Just
Getting
to get
there,
there.
connecting with people, getting out.
And not feeling so alone and getting out of your head and
Yeah.
being like, oh, other two.
I
are
don't
feeling
think
this.
there's enough of that anymore, actually. I mean, I love technology, but I think that just being able to connect with other mothers and talk to them in person, that aspect is so important.
Absolutely.
Well, and I don't think that we're given a book, guys, right? I mean, there's lots of books out there, but no one's told me, hey, are you going to take that course on motherhood and you're pregnant? No, I didn't, So I think we're just all learning and growing as we go. And so
Absolutely.
there's mistakes and scary things along the way.
There is. And sometimes we just learn through trial and error. But I think, like you guys are saying, I think it's really empowering when we can, every seminar, so we have the seminar first and then afterward we have a snack and chat. So we eat, we chat. And in that time, I just hope that women and moms can connect and really make and bond and make friendships.
I love it.
It's a great
I
way.
think you've started something very, very important.
Yeah, I do. I think it's growing naturally, and I love concepts like that just grow. What's some of your next coming events or whatever?
Yeah, so our next one is actually this week, but it is sold out.
That's
cool.
great,
It's full.
right? Yeah.
It's free, but
good.
it's full now. And then our next one it's on the 21st of February. It's at 7 o'clock at Springville Library.
Okay.
We are bringing in a professional home organizer. And
Oh my gosh.
You'll be there.
Yep.
So this is something that I need for sure. But she'll just be talking to us about how we can create peace in our homes through decluttering and organizing.
Yep.
So giving us some
That's
tips.
why I like the checklist, guys.
Yeah.
Declutters my brain a little bit. Well, Marky, you are fabulous. Is there one thing that you want to share with moms? What's something that you would want them to know?
I know this is sometimes oversaid, but I just feel like I'm just going to say it again. Like, you are not alone in what you're going through and what you're experiencing. I think so often, like you said, it like your daughters were saying, it feels isolating sometimes. Feels like you might be the only one who are having these thoughts or experiences. But when you can connect to the right people, the right resources, the right mental health professionals, like the right friends, you can do it. It's So
Absolutely.
you're not alone in what you're experiencing.
Strength in numbers, right?
Definitely takes a village, doesn't it?
You've got a really dear,
Yes.
sweet energy about you. So I imagine you, changing and sharing a lot of lives together. So
I
thank
can't
you.
wait to see you back in this seat in another year to see how it's grown. So good luck and Happy New Year, right?
Thank you.
Let's see you in
Thanks,
the next
Marky.
seminar.
Thanks for having me.
Everybody learns and functions in different ways, but if life is hampered by things like ADHD or poor motivation, there are places and people we can turn to for support. Let's welcome Ryan and Lindsay Roberts with Level Up Life to the table. Welcome, guys.
Thanks for having us.
That sounds like a perfect New Year's topic,
Yes.
right? Level up life. Here we go.
We'll even get the gamers, right? Because they hear level up and they're like,
Oh, sure. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good
We're
idea.
gamers too, so.
that's perfect. So tell us a little bit about what you do.
Yeah, a big part of what we do is we help students who are struggling with academics, but the big struggle is not really related to school. It's something mental health related, or relationships, or even medical, neurodevelopmental. And so we're helping kids with academics by approaching things more holistically. So I'm a mental health therapist, and Lindsay's a nutritionist. And we have other directors.
Ryan and Lindsay and you two are married, correct?
Yes, we are.
And so we're just attacking from multiple fronts and trying to help kids from non-academic points of view, so that academics is just a natural byproduct of that success.
Well, they all interact, right?
Yes.
And I study mental health as well.
Okay.
And the model like a biopsychosocial, and it all interacts, right? If you're not getting good sleep or good nutrition, you're not going to feel great, which means you're not going to do great. Or if you're depressed, right? All these things. So this is awesome.
Oh,
that
man.
you're doing that.
I worked in a tutoring company years ago, And when we only could focus on the subject material, it was heartbreaking because the kids would come in and the issue was they do well with academics, but they go home to families that were broken, or they got out of a breakup, or teachers were frustrating. And we couldn't do anything about all of that. It was just teach the material and send them on their way. And grades wouldn't improve. It was rough.
Yeah, because you're not.
And then what if they have like an ADHD or something like that, and it's like we gotta like teach the child in a different format or a different way?
Yeah, we tried to, but at the time I didn't have the training. We didn't know how to approach those kind of problems. So as I got older and I got my training, Lindsay and I teamed up to try and tackle these kind of things. Especially ADHD, which is a neurogenetic disease. Lindsay has been immensely helpful in tackling these kind of problems that I didn't even fully understand and how it works in the brain.
Tell us a little bit about that, Linz. What does that look like?
Sure. Yeah. So kids with ADHD, a lot of the times, most of our kids that we work with have some amount of ADHD that they're struggling with. And what you see a lot is medicine that they're taking can make their appetite really bad. So if they, depending on when they take the medicine, they might forget about eating for the whole day. Like even they'll go to school and they'll have their lunch with them and they won't even eat it. They'll come home, they'll forget about eating. And then when they do have a chance to eat, it's just eat whatever is available and eat a lot of it. They really have sugar. They like sugar a lot more than other kids, and most kids like sugar, right? But scientifically, they actually absorb less glucose in the brain specifically than someone that doesn't have ADHD. And so that craving for sugar is actually, their brain telling them that they need it because they're not able to absorb it as much. So
to that point, I guess what I would love to understand also is pinpointing the ABCs, shall we say. So you identify the problems, and then how do we get, point B? How do we, bring them to you for the help? Because if they are having a bad diet or something, then how do we help, assist the situation? So first identify, right? So if is that like by the school, by the parents, and then they do outreach to you on their own?
Yeah, and even if they haven't identified, they can even reach out to us because of Ryan's background.
Okay.
He can kind of guide you into where you start with identifying what the root cause is of what they're struggling with.
Tell us about your background, Ryan. Tell us what training you've had.
So it's a CMHC, so clinical mental health counselor. And a lot of my background has been in residential treatment centers. And these kids have everything set up for them, from nutrition to exercise to social structures, and so even academics. And so when we are working with kids, I actually started working with kids transitioning out of treatment programs. We are having to build their entire structure of life from the ground up. And so my background has been helping these students take their exercise routine with Lindsay's help, figure that out, and how to build social structures from nothing without really having the social skills, and how to work and advocate for yourself with academics, with accommodations, accessibility services, and how to reestablish connections with the family again. So we actually do have to touch on basically all of these. So to your point, we do a very in-depth needs assessment to make sure that we understand all these points of life, and we have other directors besides us that have to help and chime in on all the other aspects. So mine is mostly on the therapeutic side, but we see all of this.
How involved are families? Like, okay, so say a kid comes in, how involved do you have the parents? Like, what's their role that they play?
They're very involved when they're 18 or 17 or younger. Let's take a diet plan, for example. Lindsay needs to be involved and help the parents with nutrition because the kids don't have much of a say on that.
Yeah.
But when they start going to college, parents are actually not much of a factor yet. We want them to be, and parents sometimes want to be, but the kids are often like, okay, we want parents. Let's get nagging down. And so,
Time for me to make my own choice, maybe.
And that's where the boundary control comes in. We have to help both parties manage that a little bit. So we're giving parents training individually and giving the kids training individually. So we're actually managing them both separately, helping them both manage a new type of relationship. So we actually handle that separately. It's kind of fun.
So what does a program look like then? I'm just trying to imagine, like, okay, my child's struggling at school. Don't know what's going on with him. He did okay, now he's kind of going down. Is that, I reach out to you and say, can we come in for an evaluation? Or is that what happens?
Yeah, that's basically what happens. They come in and we'll do an assessment that's pretty in-depth, and we look at a lot of executive functioning skills. Then we look at the social skills and their overall health. And Lindsay will order tests if we need, and based on that, we will then prescribe a plan, and we will have to go to the school to help implement the plan, or go to a medical doctor to implement a plan, or go to a psychologist for further testing. And we will coordinate all of that help for the families. So they'll come to us first and we'll help prescribe or coordinate further efforts and testing for the family or for the district. So they can come to us first, we can kind of handle everything else for them.
Do you get referral? Like, where do you get referrals usually? Are they from the schools? Like, they're like, okay, we've got, do you have connections with the schools where if they know there's a kid, then they know to reach out to you? Are you a resource for them?
Yeah, we get a lot from schools, school districts, from treatment programs and educational consultants. Those are the big four that we usually get referrals from.
So if there's outreach then for assistance from you, what about like insurance plans? So if you've built a plan or something for the child, will insurance ever cover that?
Currently, no, not with our program. We will hope to have a clinical program in the future.
Okay.
Hopefully in the near future, and we'll work towards getting insurance for that section. But I'm not sure about the coaching side. We do have coaches that once we do create this plan, then we pass the kid off to a coach or a mentor to really be able to help implement this plan, and that is not covered by insurance.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just imagining things also, but the world, that our children live in, I feel like everybody should have an assessment. I love
Right.
this. Yes.
That's exactly what I'm thinking of. Like, where do I stand? Even if I'm not clear down here, but I'm somewhere struggling, and just maybe a little bit of tweaks and changes could help that child succeed for life, right?
Oh man, and the big thing is, even if you know what could be helpful, like even how to reduce procrastination. Here's a study plan. The implementation and the resistance involved is so hard for people to troubleshoot that having a mentor there to say, all right, what actually got in the way?
Right.
And how do we actually work through that?
Yes.
That is so tough for families.
Right.
And so having someone there in the moment working with them to figure that out is essential for all of us.
Right, and it's like I Google, I'm going to find someone that can maybe ADHD, but what about this? And here this is, you guys have kind of a mapped out plan. Like, this is what we can do to help the child succeed,
Yes.
or an adult. I
Well,
don't
the
know.
reality too is there could be kids who are struggling, which impacts the parents because maybe the parents are like, why are you acting out? Or they're struggling in school and that's frustrating the parents, and you have, then it becomes a relational challenge too. But the reality is that the kid is just, the parent doesn't know, oh, they have ADHD, they struggle learning, and they just didn't know that. And it's not his fault or the parent's fault, it's just, they just need resources and education and help, right?
You know what we secretly sell to the family? It really is that relationship. Because parents are often torn between, do I want my kid to hate me, to be mad at me, or do I help them succeed? And like, I have to choose between them. That's what it feels like.
So true, right?
We can help you get both, but here's how you do it.
Yeah.
But
Not
parents
that you
are
have to be the bad guy, but you have to be the choice helper.
Yeah.
Yes, I love that. And maybe that's why I keep choosing the word assist. Well, because you say if I could only imagine, or the child could imagine the outcome that I see for you, or having your success in the future, or if a better choice of, and I'm just hypothetically saying, like maybe a boiled egg over like a big ball of sugar, or how you're eating, how you're sleeping, how you're doing all of these things, is because we love you, not because we're against you.
Kid doesn't feel that way though.
No.
Right.
We help
Following the
translate
approach.
that to the kid. Yeah.
So how can people reach out to you? What's the best way or different ways that they can do that?
I would say the easiest is to go to our website, which is level-up life. Just spaced it in my head. level-uplife.com. You can follow our social media there. We're on LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook. And that would be the best way to reach out, is joining our social media communities. And we do a lot of free workshops here in Utah at local libraries as well, where he will go in and just talk to parents for free as well. So that would be a good place to look that up.
That
This
is
is
awesome.
great. Yes, love it. Love
Really
it.
great
Thank you so much.
information.
It is really helpful that you are, because this
tag
is
team.
needed, where you cannot just pinpoint one thing. You have your diet and probably even sleep. You probably include that in there.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's a big deal, and mental health, and that all will impact schooling, and schooling vice versa, right? Things are hard at school.
It's usually not school that's the problem.
Yeah.
Yep.
I've often heard that, yeah. It's usually somewhere down the rabbit hole, right?
Yep,
And
we're
then
not
that's
selling
just the-
improved grades because in the end, it's okay if you fail a class. It's just hard to picture and feel that in the moment. And so that's what we try to help people understand is it's okay.
Right. Let's get you better for the future.
Yeah,
Yeah.
long-term independence and confidence is what we hope that they walk out with.
Thank you
You
for
two are
all the
amazing.
information.
Thank you. I feel like we're going to need you back again.
We'd love to.
Thank you.
If your spouse is dealing with a porn addiction, you know the challenges that a family suffers through. Our next guest has struggled through this ordeal a couple of times. Let's welcome Heather Westover to the table. Welcome.
Thank you for coming, Heather.
Thank you very much for having me.
Hi,
I'm honored
Heather.
to be here.
Good.
appreciate
Good. We're
it.
glad. Thank you for sharing your table.
Of course.
Yep. So you come with a really deep, kind of scary topic. I
Yeah.
feel like that not a lot of people dare talk about.
It's very taboo to talk about.
It is.
Yes.
It is. So share us a little bit about your story and why you brought it to us.
Well, when my first spouse was, I didn't know what pornography really was.
Okay.
You know, kind of talked about it growing up as a kid. Don't look at naughty pictures. Like that was the extent
Totally,
of it,
right.
And then my first exposure to it was when I was 24, and my spouse at the time came home and he'd lost his job for viewing it at work.
Oh.
And I was like, wait, you have a pornography problem? Like, I had no idea. It wasn't disclosed to me. I was nothing other than just speechless.
And
completely.
devastated,
And
probably.
devastated.
Yeah.
You know, it was hard because there was no one to talk to. I remember talking to my parents, and my dad was like, just love him. That's what you need to do. Just love him. And I bless my dad's heart. He didn't know any better either.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. And leaders at the time, church, I remember hearing other women saying, oh, if that happened to my husband, like no one knew. I would divorce him in a heartbeat. And I was thinking, you have no idea. And there was nothing out there. I didn't know of groups. I didn't have books. It was me kind of by myself, and I didn't know what it was. And I was told that the addiction was my fault because I wasn't enough. My body was the wrong shape because I wasn't good enough in
From
the
him
bedroom.
or from others?
From him.
Okay.
This is your fault. So, and I'd go to ask people for advice. They're like, well, maybe bring some lingerie that might fix it, kind of situation.
That's really devastating. I mean, think of how that impacts your self-esteem and
It
who
was
you are.
Like your problem is because of me.
Right. And I knew it was a problem, but I didn't realize how much of a problem until I really started my healing journey with my second husband. So 15 years in that relationship, really devastating. We ended up separating, not necessarily because of that, but that was, one of those things. And I was on a dating app, and I was swiping through, and this guy came up with this big old scruffy beard, and I was like, and no, not even interested. And I had this overwhelming feeling. It said, go back. You got to go back. You got to go back. And I'm looking at this picture thinking, what does heaven know that I don't? Because
That's not for me.
that's not, no. And I ended up texting him, started texting, and that night, we had been texting through the night and the next day, and I was kind of liking this person. He was friendly, he was fun. I thought, oh, this will be fun to go on a date with someone not scary, because social media dating is scary. And they, all of a sudden it got really quiet in our chat, and I had this overwhelming thought that said, he's going to tell you he has an addiction. And I thought, are you kidding? I just did this. Why in the world would you put me in this situation again? And sure enough, the next thing he said is, I have the addiction, here's my past story, I'm divorced, like he laid it all on the table. And
So he's telling you this up front.
this is within the first 30 hours of texting.
Wow.
Which is unheard of in
Right.
the
Usually that's something
addiction
you don't
world.
put that on the table.
But he must have been in a place where he's like, hey, I'm trying to.
Yeah, and he'd
go
been
through
the
it.
gamut. He had been divorced. He'd lost everything. He was homeless for a few months. Like the poor man had to go through basically rock bottom, and then he was kind of building himself back up. And I remember thinking, why would you do this to me? Why would you put me there? And the very next thing he said is, and just so you know, this is my addiction. At no point is this addiction ever your responsibility. And whoa, I was shocked and I didn't know what he meant, because I came across, it was my fault. That's the way I'd been raised, the way I had grown up in my first marriage. And so it's become one of those things that he's very open about. I remember the first time I took him to church and he was talking about it. I'm like, would you stop talking? Shh.
We don't have to tell everyone right off the bat.
Tell anybody about this.
That's going to mean something different for different people. People who've been through it are like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad there's someone else.
Yes.
And people who don't know are like, oh, I would divorce them.
Exactly.
Right.
And so that's where we get a lot of pushback, because we're very open and we've talked about our story on different platforms because we think it is so important. Because no one should have to go through it the way I did, where it's your fault and you have nobody to talk to.
Right.
You should suffer silently.
So what happened? Like, I mean, you stayed in the first relationship or first marriage for 15 years, you said, right?
Yeah.
So what was the breaking point?
The breaking point for me was a combination of, we had a hard time just keeping work.
Okay.
And lack of motivation. It was, I could see myself progressing and going places and wanting to achieve great things, and he was very content to just kind of be home and not go anywhere, do a lot of things, you know, and I mean, I wish him the best. Like, I honestly hope someday he figures it out, because the man's brilliant.
Okay.
I married a genius. I tell him he's dumb, but like, dumb as a box of rocks, but he's a genius.
Different ways, yeah.
But
So then what brought you to this new relationship and saying, I'm on board to try this?
honestly, I don't know if you can say it, God. That is the only reason I agreed to this relationship, is from day one, that feeling of going, you need to trust this. I was like, are you sure? And always feeling extremely at peace. You know, of course, then I told my family about his addiction. My parents were like, what are you doing, Heather? This is not a great idea. You know, so one of the things that Josh and I, my husband and I, have really worked at is being open about it and talking, helping people understand addiction is not, no matter what the person who is addicted says, it is not the other person's fault. Even if they tell you, oh, I'm doing this because you are not fulfilling some need.
Right.
That's not accurate. The other thing we are learning about addictions, and what's amazing is, I mean, like pornography, 85% of men and 75% of women have looked at pornography at some point in their lifetime.
Well, if you've watched TV,
right.
at some point,
Right.
you've seen different levels of it.
Right. And with our technology,
there.
I just feel like it's
everywhere.
easier
It's
and easier.
My husband's
Yeah.
like, in less than 3 minutes, I could get you hardcore pornography if I, you know,
Yeah.
you wanted to.
Unfortunately.
But this idea that people that are struggling with addiction are doing so because there's an underlying pain going on. There's an underlying hurt going on, and they use it to numb out, to find acceptance. That was what my husband started viewing pornography at the age of 10. Back in the days when it was hard, you know, like, hard to find out. It was
finding
a
a
lot harder.
magazine.
Yeah, exactly. And he was trying to escape from things that hurt. And so for us, when he, we have a rule that within, it's normally within a few hours that he'll call me or text me and say, hey, I slipped up, I relapsed, whatever word he decides to use, which is pretty amazing, because I came from also a relationship of a lot of, it was very hidden.
Yeah.
You don't talk about it. So when he discloses, then he, we can talk about it, and I can look at him as a person instead of, this addiction is attacking me. This addiction is telling me I'm not enough, because that's what I believed. And no one, male or female, anyone should ever have to feel that way, you know? And so that's been really cool. And then we got involved in a program called Warrior Heart.
Okay.
Have you heard of that?
No, I have not.
Most amazing program. Most amazing program out there on the planet. It is, a lot of times got people, men that have addictions will go, but it's not just for like pornography or alcohol or really any addiction. It's a 3-day program where they take you up into the mountains and they help men reconnect to God. And it is the most powerful 3 days I love when my husband goes because I love to hear the stories and the miracles that happen.
So is this, how often does this happen?
This year it's actually happening 9 times.
Wow.
And the last year we had 4. So
Wow.
it is growing exponentially. It's now all over the United States. They're even doing one in Alaska. I'm trying to get myself invited.
Oh, yeah.
They tell me I'm not allowed to come. But they go and they really focus on, it's non-denominational, but it's just connect with God. And if you can connect with God and you understand why you're important and how much you're loved and how God actually sees you, your addiction has less and less pull. Because a lot of times for addictions, people are looking for validation somewhere else. I want you to approve of me.
Well, and it also turns, so I study this because I study mental health.
Oh, yeah.
But it turns you, there's a couple things that are really important what you're saying. Number one is honesty. The honesty will suffocate the addiction.
Yes.
So the fact that he is honest and constantly honest, it cannot continue to get worse, which is a really good point. But I know there's also like a 12-step too that they have for, like they have it for alcoholics.
Yes.
But they have it for sexual addiction. And what's interesting is the first step is acknowledging that you have a problem.
And that's the hardest step.
So
I think.
for people,
100%,
so
put it
for
out in the
someone at
open.
home who's like, okay, this is happening, and I don't have anyone to talk about or talk to, you know, remember about that they need to first recognize this is a problem. And pornography actually makes you look at people as things rather than people, and it disconnects you from real relationships. And that's what makes it so much more devastating. It amplifies whatever that underlying issue is, like what you're saying.
Yeah.
It just amplifies that.
And I think that's where it gets fed on, where you walk away feeling I'm not enough or I'm broken. It really has nothing to do
It
with
devastates you as a wife,
Right.
and him also.
Yes.
So what would you tell couples or a woman or a man that may think that they're dealing with this or know that they are?
First of all, there's hope. Don't give up. That's my biggest thing. If someone who, if you can get your husband, there's actually a women's sisters program called Heart of a Woman, which helps with women who have trauma in this department, really any trauma. But if or Warrior Heart. If you can get to Warrior Heart for the men, that's awesome. SAL, which is the Sexual Addiction 12-Step Program, is really amazing.
yeah.
But most importantly, get them involved with a group of people they can reach out to. My husband's a member through the Warrior Heart. He has 6 different text groups, and anytime they're my favorite things to read, because you will see these guys reaching out and saying, I need a prayer today. Today I'm really struggling. And doing that not only for yourself as the one who's struggling and the person who has the addiction, get a community, get a group of people, because of that. You don't have to do this alone. That was the thing I learned, and that was the hardest for me for 15 years, is I thought, it's all on me. I have to fix the world.
Right. Can people reach out to you? Do you have any program, or are you just sharing your story with us?
Mostly just sharing this story.
Okay.
But Warrior Heart, or A Heart of a Woman, also there's one, a podcast called Rise Up Restored, which is the female trauma survivor edition. That my story is actually on there.
Okay.
So neat.
And then there's one for men called Unashamed and Unafraid podcast. And that is about men dealing with their addictions. And both, they can get you connected to Warrior Heart, they can get connected to people. I'm happy to share my information. My husband, we always share our numbers, because if anyone needs help, we're there to
That's awesome.
be willing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
for sharing.
Really, thank you.
Yeah, that's an uncomfortable
Yeah.
topic. So
Yeah.
thanks.
Unless you're at our house, then it's normal, apparently.
Like
That's
it.
so good.
Well, thank you.
There's
Thank
going to be
you.
some people at home, I'm sure, that are going to feel like, oh my gosh, I'm not the only one.
Yeah, I hope so, because there's no place to be. So
Yeah.
Thank you.
thank you very much.
We covered some pretty heavy topics today. What have we learned?
Lots and lots and
Yes.
lots.
We start out
what
the
didn't
new
we
year
learn,
with a good bang, guys.
Yes.
We're going to take action. We're going to level out our lives.
Yes. New
Balance.
year, new you, new help. Oh my deliciousness.
New bodies.
So kind.
Diet
New
starts
sugar
tomorrow, guys.
fix.
It starts tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Pete.
guys.
What is this treat?
Okay, so I absolutely adore Marky. I mean, she was just like one of my daughter's friends and little dance partners, and to see her evolve and just take action as a woman and as a mother. So
We'll keep our eye on her because I think
100%.
in a year it will have gone to a
That's her
completely
mother's
doing
different
what she's
level.
doing
yes.
right now.
Yes, yes.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I just wanted to.
Don't worry, I'll just slurp mine up. I'm sure Pete would love that.
No, that was fantastic, and we talked about like our words, right? So I think level up helped a ton too. So I'm like, yeah, balance
what you
like for me, for the entire family, for like just trying to get everything assessed, I guess.
Yeah.
And maybe
In check.
Yes. Yes, because there's so many things that coming from all direction. Like I need to be here, there, everywhere.
And you can't be a high at everything. So it's like, what's most important? Evaluate that and then bring that all maybe more
Don't you think
balanced.
sometimes people look at like, oh, my son's having a problem at school or something, and then it's like a reflection on them instead of saying, you know what, I just need to find some resources. Let's just
Fix it.
I'm
Right.
not the problem. He's not the problem. There's just the problem, and we just
Right.
need to fix that.
Yeah.
That's one thing
do.
I would love. That's going to be my goal of the year is like separate yourself from the problem and just because then you don't shame. It just eliminates shame.
Yeah. And I think that was like with Heather and with Level Up, both of those concepts about like we can either ignore the ADHD or that he's doing bad at math, he's just bad at
Right.
math, or we can actually get some help.
Yep.
And like with the porn addiction, like I can either keep this private, but if I open up, who can I help,
They're
right?
so willing to talk about
Right.
things and
Yeah.
bring the problems to the table,
Right.
and there's places to go and
And connections, and
yes.
just to watch our guests today connect with each other off screen to be able to help other people.
Yeah.
Like that's what it's all about, guys.
And then finally, a competition. Yes.
Right?
Oh, yes.
And maybe, you know, they never know what they have to talk about also. They all bring these amazing platforms to the table also, and there could be a new Miss Spanish
Again,
Fork.
but a new way to
Right.
improve yourself, right?
Yes.
Sign up for
Yes.
Miss Spanish Fork or Little Miss too, right? At the same
Little
time, or
Miss,
that's later
no,
on.
it will be a little later. And I thought she said that's maybe June this year.
Okay.
So
But they can get ready now, right?
Yeah.
they
could-
always
they could
can be
start.
ready.
Get ready
I
now.
just think it's so great that they open it up to a new age bracket. I think that's really awesome, that 10-year span.
We're holding out for the senior citizen.
Yeah, we are. We all want to be on one day. Okay.
one of those
Especially for the swimsuit contest.
There you go, right?
And the fact that it's not talent, that it's her story. That you can just share something that impacts you, that you're good at, that you feel passionate about. I think that's really cool.
Yeah. It was very fulfilling.
Yep.
It was all very good. Well,
That's a great one.
I loved it. Okay, so what's your phrase going to be for this year?
I think it's just going to be the word. I think it's just going to be balance.
Balance.
Okay.
Balance.
Mine is wholeness.
Yeah.
Wholeness, balance.
Yeah.
And mine was, I said it a minute ago, and now I can't remember what.
To be a part of the problem.
Remember, that's going to be my word. I need
Okay.
to remember to.
More of your phrase, yeah, to just not be a part of the problem or to step away from it.
Yes,
Or,
yes. And this is what a goal in
Assess.
therapy is
Okay.
to take, to separate yourself from the problem. The problem is
There
the
you go.
problem.
Yes.
You're not the problem.
You're-
we are
Okay.
changeable, moldable. We can improve.
Angela's going to solve all of our problems this year.
Okay.
That's what I'm hoping.
Okay, well, we're challenging everybody else to do
Yes.
that as well. Thanks
Find
for
a
being
word.
here with us. We hope you've enjoyed the conversation. If you've learned something new, please tell a friend about us.